Last week, we started the series on protecting Nigeria's slum dwellers against official high-handedness. We will speak with a representative of the community in DIOBU River State, where an entire settlement was recently pulled down by the agents of the state government without any form of engagement. Justice and Empowerment Initiatives has taken up responsibility of interfacing with the state government on their behalf, but the denials and lack of empathy continues to worsen the emerging humanitarian disaster around people in this bracket, in the face of relentless urban redevelopment and expansion. To get a clearer understanding, we're now being joined here by Mary Henry Prince and Choice Williams, two evictees from a community in DIOBU River State, which was leveled by agents acting on behalf of the state government without any form of engagement or relief. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mary, let's start with you, please. Could you just talk us through what your experience was with what happened?
Okay, like I said, I'm Mary Prince from Urala community. The experience was bad when it comes to forced eviction. It was about 10 communities that was pulled down on that 30th of January 2022 this year. So it was an ugly experience. It was a bitter experience. It was an experience that I don't even wish anybody should go through, because as I speak, a lot of us are still in the streets. The rain beating, the sun, and nowhere to go. So it is an ugly experience as we speak.
Just listening to you, you sound pretty frightened and shook up by this whole incident. I can tell from just, being in your presence. I'm really sorry about what has happened to you and your community. Now, can you share with us if there's been any, change in terms of security, and where are you guys at this moment?
When you talk about security, because we are displaced, in terms of security, is okay, because we don't have issues when it comes in terms of security, because since we have been displaced, we are in the streets. It's just everybody is pity. So when it comes to security, it's terrible. But it's something else.
But where exactly are you? You say you're on the streets. What do you mean by you're on the streets?
Okay, when I talk about the streets, we have the down below and we have the upside. So our own settlement was in the down below. But some of us are up that street, while some of us are still in the down below, which is the slum area, the waterside area.
All right, Choice, let me come to you. What was your experience like when the agents of government came to remove you from your settlement? I know that it's a waterfront settlement. Were you served any notice before? And more importantly, do you think that you will get justice from the court? I know that some organizations have, on your behalf, taken the government to court. Do you think that there will be justice for you guys?
Yes, for sure. I believe there will be justice for us. And that is because we were pushed out of our own community with nothing. It's a really bad one for us, because according to what I know about my community and according to what my mom told me, they were the persons that came to that community where the community was just with water, and they filled it with mud till it became a community where people live. And then at the same time, that was the only property my late dad left to hire my parents. Like we are 14 in numbers, if I'm not mistaken, 8 children and 6 grandchildren. And my mom currently now is a widow. And that is why she do all her things. She's a midwife. It's really bad for us because we don't have anywhere to go. And there was no adequate notice given to us. We only heard governor said he's going to destroy the shanties, which would not really direct to us. And that's why we did many follow-up to know if he was talking directly to us. But to no lave, it didn't work out. I and my family right now on that particular day slept on the streets with mosquitoes everywhere. It's really bad. But my concern is, at the end of the day, I was given an opportunity to sleep in an uncompleted building which I and my family are settling there right now. And when it rains, we have to go to a corner. When it shines, we also need to go to a corner. What about those persons who still lives in the street right now? Those persons who, when the rain falls, it affects them. Who, when the sun shines, it affects them. That source of livelihood has been taken away from them. And it's really affecting us. It is really affecting us. And that is why I believe that for the fact that the government did not respect our feelings, the fact that the government did not see us as people and then did this stuff, was for all indication they should be able to give us something worth. For me, if you ask me, I would tell you I want to go back to my settlement because that is where I was born and brought up. I don't need anything else but to go back there and start living. So I think that justice will be given to us. Thank you.
All right, Mary and Joyce, of course, we want to emphasize that we are deeply, we deeply sympathize with you wholeheartedly, both of you and the rest of the community that have been affected by this displacement. But let's go back a little bit and talk about, were there any sort of warnings? Was there any indication as to something like this will happen that maybe was defied? And also, we want to know, are there any organizations that have reached out to you ever since this happened to help, alleviate the situation for the community?
When you talk about information, or maybe the viral updates or reaching out to us, there was nothing of such. They did not come to us. They did not even to say, okay, let's even talk to these people, or let's even give them time. There was nothing like communication with us. So I find out that anytime it comes to the time of elections, anytime it comes to the time that they want to be in power, it is that time you see them, they will come down to us. They will come and preach, they will come and talk whatever they want to talk in order to see that we'll give them their votes. And that is what we have been doing. That is the only time they come. But when it comes to this issue that suddenly just happened to us, this forced eviction, they did not reach out to us. They did not come to us. They did not talk with us. Suddenly, before we knew it, only what we see is bulldozer coming to bulldozer our community. I didn't mean there was that communication. We could have sat down in a round table and negotiate, or even time, and we said, okay, if you want to do an institute upgrading, or if you want to upgrade our community, we would have sat down together in a round table. We'll negotiate, okay, this space is where we want to do your investment. We'll create a space for you. But as I speak with you, there was nothing like communication. So we were not notified.
Wow. So are you working with any civil society organization? I believe that Amnesty International has put out a report saying that there are about 2,000 displaced people at this point.
For me, if you want me to look at that statistics, because I've been there in that community over 35 years, I will say those displaced is more than 20,000 persons. And yes, they have been reaching out to us. But currently, it is the JI, which is the Justice and Empowerment Initiative, that has been the upfront for us, fighting and say that the litigation is on.
Okay, Joyce, just in few seconds, because we are almost out of time, are you in school currently, and how has this affected students and pupils within that community? Are there schools there? Were they affected?
Okay, I'm not in school. I do little work. But here, children are really affected. For instance, my 5-year-old son is affected. He doesn't go to school anymore. Most children are displaced. Like, when I talk about displacement, outside the waterfront, we don't even know where they are currently. We don't know where to see these children. They are just on the street without going to school. For me, each time my son said, Mommy, I want to go to school, it really affects me. It disturbs me because there's nothing I can do about it. There is no way for him to go to school. Because when there is no roof under your head, when you have nothing, how do you cope? How do you go to school? No. For sure, it has really affected so many children. Many children are at home, as I'm talking to you. Right? Over 5,000 children are at home and not going to school.
What's your message to Governor Wike, just lastly?
Wow. My message to Governor Wike is for him to bring us back to our communities. I want my community. I don't want to go anywhere. Thank you.
All right, Mary, will that also be your message as we wind down now?
Okay, I would like our communities to be rebuilt back. I want our communities to be the way it was. And after then, if you also have anything to say to us or to do with us, I think for this number of months that they have displaced us outside, we should be compensated. Because some of us are sick. As I speak to you, in the first day of the demolition, somebody put to bed forcefully. I believe you heard it on the news. A lady put to bed forcefully, seeing the caterpillar coming. She couldn't control it. The shock make the baby to come out forcefully. So when the baby comes out forcefully, is it the placenta? What do they call it? The cord happened to cut. So they were rushing out to get the placenta out. So like I said, it was an ugly experience. So we want all these things to be compensated. We want us to be compensated. And those that are currently in the hospital just because of the outside they are, the mosquitoes, the weather condition and all that. So we want an accurate, how will I even put it, a compensation that we will use in order for we to cope up with what happened to us, because as I speak, many of us are sick. So firstly, I want our communities to be rebuilt the way it was, and I want the governor to compensate us. And lastly, too, I also want this end to forced eviction, please. It's not about the slum communities alone. Anything concerning forced eviction shouldn't be done because it is an ugly experience. I also beg because it's about 3 communities that are standing just because of the litigation and the court injunction that we have sent across. We are also pleading that they shouldn't take up that community.
Okay,
thank you.
So that's not said. We just want to thank you and Choice. We know that the case is in court and we believe that the government will do the needful.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We believe that peace will return to DIOBU, hopefully.
Thank you.